Welcome back. Uncovering the truth, solving the unknown. That's exactly what they'll be doing over on Daily Planet this week. The show is kicking off Mystery Hunters Week tonight, and for a preview of it all, co-host Dan Riskin is with us in studio. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm psyched. This is a good week.
Yeah, this is really cool. You're starting off with, of course, something all Canadians love, hockey, and the oldest hockey stick ever.
Yeah. I mean, if you, okay, how old do you think the oldest hockey stick is?
I don't know, like 100 years.
Yeah, right, 100, 200, 1776.
This is wild. How do you even figure this out?
Well, they find the stick. And the thing is that for something so important to Canadian culture and Canadian history, there's very little documentation with it. So you really have to do forensic science to figure out where it came from. You can see it's still got the bark on it. We've got archaeologists working with master carpenters. How was this built? What are its secrets? We've used carbon dating to figure out how old it is. But tonight, we're looking at some stamps that were made on there that you can only see under ultraviolet light that shed light on who made it and where.
What?
And I mean, this thing, it's older than Canada, right? It's almost like saying hockey is Canadian. Canada is hockey-ish. I mean, it comes first.
And it is in incredible shape.
It is in good shape. I mean, you wouldn't want to wind up and take a slap shot in the driveway with it, but I think
it actually looks like a stick. I wasn't expecting it to look like hockey.
Yeah, it looks a lot like a hockey stick, but it's made with one piece. It still has the bark on it, so it's got some obvious differences between that and what you see players using in the NHL today. But it's there. It's still a curved stick. It's still shaped like a check mark.
Very cool. We're also talking aliens and about life beyond.
Yeah, a lot of people know about the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, SETI, but you'd sort of know that it's happening, and a lot of people want to know what's going on. And so we're looking at Jill Tarter. She is the person that inspired Jodie Foster's character in the movie Contact.
In the 90s,
right?
totally.
Yeah, and then, of course, Carl Sagan wrote that. And so she's really an inspiring character. She is looking for life out there. Unlike the character in the movie, I don't think she's been swept off to space and had these crazy adventures, but if someone's going to be taken, it's probably her. So she's got these great satellite dishes. She's got an array of more than 40 of them, and they have to be super cooled because they're looking for very, very faint wavelengths of radiation, and just the heat of the Earth would cancel that out. And so they have to be super cooled. And then there's the processing of just looking at all that space and looking for any sort of like, hello, or something like that might come across.
I hope that's how it sounds. Hello?
I hope so too. I hope it's not, you're gonna die, because that would be a very different feeling.
That was the movie that really freaked me out about life.
Yeah.
There. Totally.
Absolutely. It is a scary thing. I mean, it's like this long shot, right? If nothing, there's a good chance that they'll never find anything, but if they ever find anything, it'll be the most important thing that happened in the history of humans.
So also most important for the history of humans might be the way we drink Guinness. For a lot of people, I was very surprised to find out we could be drinking it all wrong.
It's scary that we might have drank all that beer at a suboptimal way, right? So the bubbles in a normal beer are carbon dioxide. Guinness is special because those bubbles are a mix of carbon dioxide and nitrogen. That makes them more dense, so they don't float up as quickly. And so you might have noticed that after a good pour with a Guinness tap, the bubbles on the sides facing the outside of the glass are moving down, and then they come up in the middle. It's this weird movement of the fluid that if you're, especially 3 beers in, you can just sit there and stare at this thing. And because of that movement, you get the foam on top.
Right.
And so with some nice math, you can figure out that a different shaped glass would change the fluid dynamics in there and maybe give a little less foam on top. So maybe something like a martini glass would be more optimal.
Game changer. And I will say, as a former bartender, like the Guinness is the beer you hate pouring because it takes forever and you have to let it sit. To pour it in a martini glass and know that the pour could go faster and you could just get it out there, that's a game changer in itself.
It would be. But to order, I'll have a Guinness in a martini glass, please. I don't know if that's, maybe after our show airs, people will be like, it's going to sweep the nation, but it might not.
It'll change the game.
Yeah.
This next one, as a mom of 2 boys, I'm very interested about this next one. Urination splashback.
Yeah, so the Guinness has to go somewhere, right? And so the fluid dynamics of urine hitting a toilet it hasn't been perfected. There's splatter, right?
Everywhere.
It can get
like on the wall, it's on pants, it's everywhere.
Yeah, well, yes. In the house, if you ever go, in a bar, you can see the floor is always speckled with disgustingness. It is disgusting. So why not build a better thing that sits in the urinal that absorbs the impact of the droplets? And we're talking to fluid dynamicists. They can explain in really easy to understand ways how that splash happens. It's actually that a film of fluid forms. So there's a puddle there, and it's the water hitting the puddle that causes the splash. So if you can make the water go away so there's no puddle and gets drifted away, you can change the whole thing. And so they're trying different shaped bristles, tall bristles, short bristles, bristles in a random way, bristles in a grid, and they've got this peeing robot that pees in a uniform way every time, so they can always have the same urine stream that they're measuring from, which is much easier than just feeding beer to grad students, which I'm sure they would prefer. But you want to have it repeatable, right? And so it's a tough question. It's a fun question, but it could have real, and that would be a moneymaker. You think about how many people pee every minute of every day. That's a lot of urine.
I love this. Hey, Mom, I'm going to go study science and become a researcher and then study pee. I love
You could
that.
do worse. You could do worse.
You could do worse. Dan, thanks so much for being here
Thank
today. You can catch Mystery Hunters Week on Daily Planet all this week at 7 p.m. Eastern on Discovery.